Hi everyone, welcome to day 3 of me talking you through my kind of evolution towards becoming a clinical psychologist and my journey so far. In the hope really of, as I've said in the previous days, giving you guys a chance to get a little bit of an understanding, not just about me, but about clinical psychology in general, because it is a bit of an enigma, I think. So today I was going to talk through the doctorate course. I have got a cup of tea and everything ready. I don't know about anyone else, but it's pretty cold this evening, so I hope you are all tucked up at home. So yeah, I was going to talk about the doctorate, and I was thinking about how do you go about, explaining this. And it really, I think the one thing in clinical psychology that sometimes gets overlooked, or a way to make it easier to understand, is remember that the brain is an organ. Just like all the rest of the parts of our body, our mind, our brain is an incredibly powerful organ that actually does so much. And our psyche, as we call it, our everything about what makes us up to be human beings, who we are as people, as individuals, and a whole other range of hugely complex processes are all happening within that organ. So clinical psychology is very similar in lots of ways, therefore, to oncology, gastroenterology, even cardiology, in that it's the study of another part of the body, and then this part, the mind, the psyche. And really what it is, it's been evolving for a long time, but I suppose what we mostly know of is in the times of Freud, the early kind of 1900s, and of course since then it has changed hugely, and over those years there has continued to be tons of extra research, academia, clinical practice, which has helped us to develop a whole host of different ways of looking at the world and understanding human behaviour. So I suppose that's the thing, like whenever we are conceived, whenever we are brought into this world, that's what we are, to first and foremost, is we're human beings. So that genetic makeup that we have from those moments that our cells are first developing have a huge part to play in natural and innate parts of our brain. Like, we're not built to not feel emotions, we're not built to be perfect, we're built to be quite complex creatures. And then when we enter the world, we're born into whatever family we're going to have. We're born with our own specific genetics that have came from those that have came before us, and whoever then goes on to take care of us, whether that's our own biological parents, or if we're adopted, or whoever's cared for us in our lives, as well as the wider whole universe now, especially with like the internet and social media. Well, not universe, that's going a little bit too beyond, but the whole world, as well as our individual countries, our individual cultures, our whole experiences that we have throughout life, all come together to make us who we are. And as we all know, we are we're pretty complicated, and we experience some beautiful, some amazing, some incredible things in this world that are quite mind-blowing, to be honest, a lot of the times. And then we also, of course, experience a great deal of loss and suffering and difficulty, and we all have our own unique journeys during this life. So clinical psychology really is the study of understanding all of that, so you can kind of see why there's such a huge breadth really to it. And then the clinical aspect of it really is about how do we apply all of that stuff that we learn and study to help improve the society we live in, the world, as well as at an individual level, each other really. How do we help people who are struggling? How do we learn better ways of raising our kids, of helping the next generation deal with all of these complex emotions? how do we as professionals help the different people that come to us to deal with whatever it is that has happened to them in their lives, and to live the best life that they can when they're on this this planet, really. So the doctorate really covers all those bases. You're looking at the kind of academic side of it, so learning all of the kind of history, the literature, all the different aspects of what there is to psychology, which is pretty, as you can imagine, pretty huge, and as well as the research part. So we're taught very much how to conduct research, how to analyse research, and how to be a huge part of that process so we can continue to improve, because there is no doubt that we have still got work to do, a lot of work to do. We've made mistakes in the past as a profession, as have psychiatry, as have all scientific kind of medical arenas, really, and we will continue hopefully to make improvements in the future. Obviously there's a whole host of reasons there that are impeding that, such as funding and the NHS and cost effectiveness and all of that kind of stuff, but that's a really important kind of element of it. And the other part is that we're constantly learning from the people that we work with alongside all of that. So during my, I talked you through a couple of days ago, just briefly, like my experience prior to my doctorate. And then during my doctorate, I did various placements. We tend to do 3 days a week placements during our doctorate, working in adult mental health, child and adolescent mental health. I was working in older adults and learning disabilities. So again, a really good breadth of knowledge to kind of apply to the work that I do now, which, it doesn't really matter what you go on to specialise in. You always need to pull, it always benefits the work to be able to pull from all of that kind of other experience. And you do all of those placements under, very close supervision, as well as doing the academic and the research element of it. So lots of essays and a 45,000 word thesis at the end as well. So that all kind of comes together to give you the skills to, to work forward and figure out where it is you want to go within your career and where you need it, and how best to help people who need it. Obviously, a huge aspect of all of that is that we are humans treating humans. And by that definition, given that humans are imperfect, we are imperfect too. We have our vulnerabilities, we have our flaws, we have our emotions, we have all the things that everybody else has. So in order to do this job well, we really need to develop a great deal of personal reflection and self-awareness. Many of us have probably had therapy at some point, in the same way that counsellors and psychotherapists do, as well as a lot of kind of work inwards just to allow ourselves to do that, as well as using supervision and stuff as well. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an overview. There's a lot to take in. Some people might be quite interested in it. Some of you might be just like I just want to come for therapy, so we can work together. But I like to give everybody a chance to kind of have the information that they need that's going to help them make their decisions about whether they go to see me or another therapist, but also if you go to see someone in the NHS, or if you're going to your GP for a referral, that you're more empowered to make decisions for yourself. So as always, please pop any questions you have below. There are never any silly questions. Our mental health and our emotional well-being is very complicated and very difficult to understand, and even starting to talk about it is still quite a challenge. So it's just important to start to be able to give yourself permission to do that, if nothing else. And as always, you can contact me on my email, info@letstalkni.co.uk. You can message me here on Messenger, or you can even just give me a bell on 07896 150292. So I'm going to drink the rest of my cuppa and chill out for the night, and I hope you guys are as well. And I'll be back tomorrow to talk a little bit more about how all of that bit of journey up until the end of my qualification. So that was how many years ago now? 8 years ago since I qualified for my doctorate. What I've been doing since, and all of the things that have brought me to kind of being passionate about providing online therapy and being the therapist I am today. Okay, thanks for tuning in again, everybody. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.